What's up? Hello world, I'm Amber Codes, and today I want to talk about some things. I want to talk about some tech culture and some things that I've been reading because I really enjoy reading, and I've been trying to think of ways to incorporate some of the topics that I read about inside of videos. And one of the ways I thought about doing is commentary. This is going to be the beginning of a commentary series. So with that said, the first article I want to begin with is from a Medium article because I read that one. I read Wired, and there's a bunch of other ones that I read. So I want to get into it, and I'm going to link the author. I'm going to give her credit. I'm going to talk about her article because I think it's very well written, and we're going to talk about some issues. So let's get into it. Today's topic is going to be about the tech culture, the kind of culture that you should expect if you are looking to be a developer, or if you're thinking about this as a career, or what kind of things do you expect, right? So as I was reading, because I read every day and I read about different topics, this one just spotted out to me because it was very interesting. It's something that I didn't think about. I just never considered it while entering this career, and so it highlighted a few things that I'd want to bring to your attention and have a conversation about. So the article is called "The Truth About Aging in the Tech Industry." The author's name is Angela DeLillo Galper, and if I butcher her name, I apologize, but I don't mean to. I think that it's sometimes hard and difficult to say names, but please forgive me if you see this and it's your article, but I loved it, so thanks. The subtitle is "Tech Culture is young, male, and highly exclusive, especially towards older techies like me." So what we're going to do is we're going to just bring it up and start reading from it. All right, guys, so I'm going to start by reading this article to you. It's entitled "The Truth About Aging in the Tech Industry." And the subtitle is Tech Culture Today is Male and Highly Exclusive, especially towards older techies like me. She starts by saying, 30 years ago, when tech was taking off and a few colleges offered computer science degree, I started my first job at IT. I was a liberal arts grad in the Boston area. Tech was growing faster than universities could develop computer science departments. So many colleges in the area offered something like today's boot camps and helped open doors. I managed to get my foot in the door of an IT team by working as a legal secretary Monday through Friday and sitting in day-long computer science classes on Saturdays. At the time, women in tech had some additional challenges, but the biggest was imposter syndrome. So guys, I want to just start by saying that I'm going to do a video on imposter syndrome, but it's going to be like way later because I feel like this is a topic that's also not as discussed, but it's definitely something that I want to cover, and it's very common for a lot of people. So I'm just going to touch on it right there, but I'm going to touch on it in depth a lot later in another video. But let's move on. The feeling that while we were succeeding at our jobs, somehow we were not real techies. Luckily, there were enough women mentors and enough men and women working together to figure out ever-changing technologies that our technological backgrounds didn't matter as much as we were able to learn on the job. In our 20s, many of us were striving for our first management position. Some of us wanted to move to the next stage of our careers, and some of us were just really competitive. Some feared losing their entry-level jobs. Others feared that management track meant drifting further away from none of us feared getting old. Now, in our 50s and 60s, we're often older than the person older than the next person in the entire company by at least 14 years. For the most part, those who survived decades in tech are our friends who became VPs. Most of the middle managers got laid off and switched careers. The rest of us are like the 50 somethings we knew early in our careers. People no one really hangs out with, who sit alone, who come and go quietly each day, and who eventually disappear without a goodbye party. I've been laid off twice in my career, and at the beginning and near the end, the first time I was too young and inconsequential, and the last I was too old and overpaid. I left the first job with an air of optimism and a lot of fear that I'd chosen the wrong career. I left the last job fearful that my career had just ended. I teased my young manager saying that I was leaving an industry to bake muffins at Wegmans. To his credit, he felt awful. Within 2 weeks, I was working for another old friend as a government contractor. As it turns out, this is where most of my age group is working now. For us, Amazon coming to our back door doesn't mean the prospect of new jobs in Northern Virginia. It means that government employers will have even more room for older tech workers. It's too easy and not entirely fair to blame our failures on unwillingness to adapt to new technologies. While I was staying at one company or working with one technology too long can make it difficult to adapt to a new job. Even the most willing older tech workers end up on the wrong side of our technology argument at least once. We're tagged as blockers opposing the disruptors. Our younger colleagues have to convince us that technology can be delivered on a move fast and break things basis, that quality assurance is optional, and that automation is the way of all things. In my most career suicidal comment to a young manager at Amazon, I quipped, well, I suppose you can either have a team of 8 DBAs, database administrators, or 8 developers to automate their jobs. Some of us remember how operational jobs like database and system administrators have evolved from the bad old days of programmers carrying pagers on nights and weekends. What puts older tech workers, or any older worker for that matter, at risk of premature retirement is the loss of someone who cares about our work careers, or even sees a point to us having careers. As younger women, our colleagues, usually men, asked us whether that first or second baby meant early retirement. Even a manager with the best intentions can run out of patience more quickly when where once we could take few months to ramp up in a new position, we now hear comments like, well, at your experience level, I would think you could learn this faster. Mistakes are less excusable because they can't be chalked up to youthful inexperience or impulsiveness or being human. The loss of common frame of reference with coworkers and managers complicate our lives even further. To be good at anything, people must be willing to try and fail. But it's hard to be silent when younger managers are on a dangerous trajectory. When you've learned too much from your mistakes and you've seen many trends come and go, it's difficult to say nothing as you watch a young team struggling with problems you faced decades ago. You can only wait and watch the trial and error, feeling a little helpless and very useless. Aging in tech is equally hurtful to men and women. I've known men who had to move far from their families in order to keep their kids in college. I've known others who've, who've had to sell their family home to uproot everyone to run out the retirement clock. We're all aging too quickly and a little painfully. When I look at the industry today, I wonder two things. Where did my peers go? And where are the young women who will replace us? The earliest programmers were women as programming jobs evolved out of clerical positions. Today, few grads, male or female, can pass through a resume screener without a computer science degree. But so many girls opt for other careers after being discouraged by AP Computer Science in high school. Men and women who make it to computer science in college are weeded out by the esoteric engineering or math classes without which they can't continue. As an older woman in tech who's earned confidence via experience, it's especially hard to watch my younger sister shy away from asking tough questions for fear of being dismissed by louder, more confident men in the room. It's harder to even see other women trying to get ahead in tech by adopting the gladiatorial behavior of some of these men. Perhaps that comes from learning to survive crazy, rigorous computer science and engineering programs. Yet, the diversity that women brought to the table was never about gender, but style. I used to think age limited only those career that depend on physical ability. An older doctor, lawyer, or teacher was not as uncommon as a 60-year-old construction worker. 30 years ago, when careers began, we thought staying employed was simply a matter of constantly adapting. I know it's not fair to accuse an entire industry of intentionally excluding workers over 50, and yet, where are they? Most of us want to learn and adapt, and many of us have. What excludes us is the culture of tech. It's young and it's male and it's fast and a little reckless. All their innovation, brash and headstrong young leaders dismiss ideas that run counter to their culture. And though most tech companies earnestly struggle to be inclusive, we've never imagined how much that culture would one day sideline us. Now, I just want to say that article is amazing, okay? Because it brings to light a lot of issues that are relevant. And I say that they're relevant because as someone who is a career changer myself, or someone who is encouraging or inspiring other women or other men to change their careers, obviously longevity matters, right? Everybody's going to be thinking about how long can I stay in this career? And so she highlights a really important fact. Number one, she highlights where's the diversity, where are the women, because she's seeing it dwindled over the time and the years that she's been in the industry, which I also see very little women in the room when I'm there. And this is why I started my channel, just to kind of inspire others to join the journey and to also be encouraged and inspired to try. It is hard, it is challenging, but jump in. Why not? And another thing she brings up is the fact that the aging population. Now, we as a culture have a silver or a gray population. Now, we also have what I see is a tech gap in knowledge, right? We have really experienced workers who have this knowledge set and this experience, and then we have those that are young and still are needing to gain that experience, and then we have the technology that needs kind of the blend of the two and even the middle. And so here I am, and here she is writing this article, wondering what is going on. What does the future look like? After reading this article, I wonder, right? What does the future look like for someone like me? What does the future look like for anyone who is entering this career in tech? And it's a good question to ask. And I absolutely love that she brings this perspective that comes into play where she brings her experience and she also brings her perspective as a woman in tech. And so it just brings to light so many questions that I've had moving forward and trying to decide on upward mobility. And I don't know yet what that looks like for me. And unfortunately, I can't decide for the audience. Everybody has their own path and their own journey, but I definitely think it's a conversation worth having. And it's something that should be brought to light as she does in this article. And when I saw it, I was like, you know what? I definitely want to touch on this topic. I want to bring it to light. I want this culture to be seen. It's not only the fact that women need to be included in the conversations, and also, as I've said before in my other videos, in the boardrooms, in the meetings, in the tech that we're developing, but the conversation of older workers. And so that brings a whole new inclusive conversation. What does that look like? And I don't know. And she just brings to light that question. And if anyone else, if you guys have any kind of experience or know a tech worker who's been in the industry, I would like to start this conversation because I feel like it's super interesting. definitely something I will be keeping my eye on and bringing to everyone else's attention and starting the conversation about what this looks like. One of the things that I really liked that she brought up was that it affects men and women, and that some people had to move in order to keep their families and to afford them. And so that's kind of a big deal, right? But then one of the things that I also see is the revolution of remote work, and so maybe that gap will be filled that way. I'll also bring in another video on that. Comment below if you want to hear about some remote workers or how that culture is structured and how people manage that career. But I just wanted to bring to light some of those topics because this is the culture that I'm in and the culture that I'm introducing to people on my channel. And I definitely think it's an important topic and a conversation starter that we should be having. And this is the importance of diversity in a field that becomes so saturated with one type. We want to break those stereotypes and start to include others in the conversation because there's only good information to be had and also growth and experience to be learned. So with that, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching my channel. If you like this channel, if you like my topics, let me know below. I want to hear from you. I want to know what the conversation's like. Do you know a tech worker? Are you an older tech worker? Hey, bring me that experience level down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it and start this conversation going. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.